Welcome to Marketing MASH, brought to you by themarketingscope.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Vidal with The Marketing Scope. Today we have Marty Muse, the CEO of Relevance, a full-service agency out of the Indianapolis area, but you have clients globally, of course.
We do.
So thank you for joining us, by the way.
Thank you for having me.
So today we're going to talk about something a little different. And for all you B2B or B2C marketers out there who are looking to engage with a contractor or a vendor or an agency, and we're going to probably focus a little more on the agency, but this is applicable to all outside vendors. You know, how do you prepare, engage, and meet with this agency so you don't waste everyone's time, but you can also message to them so they fully understand what your strategy or what your goals are.
Right.
And so not only so you won't waste time, but also there's some other things in there, right? For most likely just for optimal success. But share with us some of the things that us marketers need to know about before meeting with an agency.
Sure. Well, I think the first thing to understand is that a typical agency is interested in your success and theirs as well. So they're looking for win-wins. And one of the ways in which I think brands could improve their buying habits, if you will, and engaging agencies is to understand exactly what they believe with regards to their why as it relates to digital approaches and digital strategies. So, everyone's aware of the Simon Sinek why. Why it does Relevance conduct business the way that we do? Why do we believe in the methodologies that we believe in? Why do we believe that our strategies are successful? Why are we so confident in the channels that we work in and the approaches that we take? Does that match up with a brand's approach to those same types of goal setting and KPIs?
Yeah, I mean, so, and stop me if I'm off here, but and I'm going off my experience coming from the B2B brands side. So I used to like to come, to the table. Sometimes I even have a couple back channel meetings with one of the point persons to get them as much information before they came in. But when they did come in, I wanted them to know what our strategy was, a little bit of the history of the company, if you will, or the brand. If we had some brand architecture set up, like what's our vision, our mission, our brand promise, stuff like that, a little bit of our personality. But also the main thing was the goals and sharing what are the goals? What are the goals, the revenue and sales goals? What are the marketing goals? What were our past goals? How are we achieving or not achieving those? And maybe share some examples of things that are going well and things that aren't going well.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. I would say that if you're in an agency, you're perhaps running sales for an agency or you own an agency, the first thing to keep in mind is you mentioned vision and mission statements. Those are questions that are great to ask a brand, but those are not things for a small agency or even a medium-sized agency to share with a brand because, quite frankly, the brand doesn't care. The brand is there to accomplish, to your point, to your question, their goals. So it's important for an agency to be able to require that a brand articulate those goals in a succinct and clear manner, right? So that everyone is aware and that there isn't any time lost in preparing proposals and understanding what the scope of the engagement is going to be.
Yeah.
And you mentioned KPIs. It's also extremely important for a brand to be able to come to that first discovery call. So, in a traditional sales cycle with an agency, you're going to have anywhere from 3 to perhaps even up to 7 types of conversations and or contacts. At Relevance, it's typically about 4 between first engagement or first discovery call and a time in which we're toasting champagne on a signed deal. But that first discovery call, the brand needs to be able to articulate both its goals, both in the short term, defined perhaps as within the first 6 months, and long term, which can be defined over a period of 2 to 3 years. Because the bigger the brand you're working with, the higher up in the enterprise chain that brand is, they're going to be able to articulate long-term goals that you as perhaps an agency owner or perhaps just a buyer or an agency a director of services, you need to be able to articulate and work in that enterprise space to be able to talk about long term. But goals, KPIs, be able to articulate those is of utmost importance.
Yeah. So here, quick rapid response here if you can.
Yeah.
What are some things not to do? What are the pet peeves?
The pet peeves is, for one, would be to, in a nice way, ask for free candy. So at Relevance, we goes without perhaps not a day goes by in which we don't have a phone conversation with a prospect, and they ask me to go ahead and, if you wouldn't mind, Marty, just go ahead and put the strategy and maybe a few tactics as well.
Some ideas, comps, lay it out.
Your most complex methodologies and approaches and 10 years of success. Can you just wrap that up into maybe a 10-page proposal for me? Oh, and by the way, I have limited resources, so I don't have, good luck getting paid from me.
Yeah.
And I'm being a little facetious, but in all seriousness, some of the things not to do would be to ask for free consulting, and to treat each other, and you as a brand, or perhaps you as an agency, to expect something that we reference as equal business stature, EBS. It's an old Sandler sales training term, but we believe in it wholeheartedly at Relevance. You as the brand, me as the agency, right? We're equals. Your time is important to you and to your business, and my time is important to me and my clients. Mm-hmm. So let's treat each other with the amount of respect that should be given in a professional, equal business stature way.
Yeah. So what about when you come across a company where they maybe have a small department, marketing department, and or you come across maybe somebody who maybe is a little green. And so do you ever reach out and try to guide them a little bit through the process to help them and make them look good in front of their CEO or what other executives that might be in that meeting to help that point person out at the brand?
By all means, there have been a few occasions, perhaps several, where we've had the opportunity. It's not really commonplace, but if a brand, if someone within in-house is willing to help the agency is more than willing to help the in-house person make sure they look like a rock star during that sales cycle.
Yeah.
So in many occasions with us, we've been able to kind of showcase a proposal, showcase some initial pricing, showcase some of the rough initial ideas and strategies.
You're back channeling, if you will.
You're back channeling.
Got it. Yeah.
And it helps us to make sure that we're on track, that we're on point. And it also makes sure that the contact that we have at the brand, if you will, is going to look like a rock star when it comes time to bring in his manager, or perhaps his manager's manager, right?
Yeah.
And review something formally in front of someone who, quite frankly, those types of meetings are very expensive. Yeah. So you want everyone to be confident. You want to make sure everyone is accomplishing what they're coming to that meeting for. My goal as an owner of an agency is obviously to drive profit for us, and to drive successful clients, and to drive and create a culture, right? Typical CEO's role at a small agency. That is not the goal of a CMO at Intuit. That is not the goal of a CMO at FedEx or Sears or any other major brand, right?
Sure.
They're there for them and to meet their goals. And so you need to make sure that those proposals and those meetings that you have, if you're lucky enough to do it face to face, that you're coming to that meeting fully prepared. And yeah, if you can get help from someone on the inside, man, lucky guy.
All right, so Marty, just to wrap this up, what are a couple things that we can just reiterate that our audience should remember when engaging, when educating and searching out for that vendor or that agency?
Yeah, it's a great question. So number one, I have three takeaways for today.
Okay, 3.
Number one is to make sure that the belief systems match up. Simon Sinek calls it the why. Just make sure your why as a buyer matches up with your agency's why. 2, make sure that you come to those initial conversations with an agency with articulated goals and KPIs.
Say that again, goals and KPIs.
Goals and KPIs. Where are we going? How fast do we need to get there? And if you can, right, how much budget you have as a brand to spend on solving this problem.
Got it.
That's 2. Number 3, strategy. Don't expect an agency to come to even the 3rd or 4th meeting with a full-blown strategic direction for that brand. However, with that said, it is fair for a brand to look to an agency that can articulate strategies and methodologies and approaches that have been successful with other brands in the past and how they relate to that current buyer.
Yeah.
So 3 things: the why, goals and KPIs, and then the strategies. Make sure that strategy is something that you believe in.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Marty.
Thank you.
So if you have any more questions, you can follow Marty on LinkedIn. Your Twitter handle is?
At Marty A. Muse.
Perfect. And or you can go to relevance.com.
Yes, check us out on relevance.com.
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode of Marketing MASH. You can share your thoughts by following us on Twitter and Facebook. Subscribe to our podcast to keep up with the show. And of course, you can always find us by visiting themarketingscope.com.